So I want to talk about how I put on 130 pounds in this life and how I also lost the 130 pounds and how I've kept it off for over 6 years now. So growing up, I was definitely one of those like 90s kids that was eating a lot of like I call the lab rat food, you know, like Lunchables and kid cuisines, Hot Pockets, a lot of processed foods. And I kind of feel bad for our parents because I think in the 80s and 90s was really when like Monsanto and these weird food corporations really started to take over and add a lot of just interesting stuff to our food supply, you know? And so as a child, I definitely ate a lot of processed foods. And I think, you know, when we're kids and our bodies are developing and our organs and our tastes, when we have a lot of these processed stuff, it makes the nature-made, earth-made, you know, what we should be eating not taste right or not as desirable because we're eating these chemically, scientifically engineered foods. And so as a kid, I was definitely repulsed by fruits and vegetables, and luckily I did a lot of gymnastics and softball and was super athletic as a child, so I didn't put on weight really until I started to get into junior high. And in junior high, I remember my favorite food like at lunch at school was like the slush puppy drinks and the Tony's pizzas and my gosh, like pretzels and cheese and hot dogs and this crazy stuff. And I was already pretty shy as a kid, and school was something that was really challenging for me. It didn't really cater to how I am as an emotional being. And so I was in a car accident in 7th grade, pretty traumatic car accident that involved my whole family. And that made me even more of an introvert. You know, I was kind of bullied at school after that and just went through a lot of emotional trauma that really made me turn inward, you know. So it felt like I had all this pressure at school and then all this crazy pressure at home, and the only thing that was making me feel good or giving me false comfort was food. And come into high school, I was definitely one of the bigger girls at school. I wasn't interested in partying. I was having a lot of negative thoughts towards myself, towards others. And again, I was not eating foods that were making me thrive. I remember there was like an abundance of soda machines at school and just crazy things that were available to us. And then we also had off-campus lunch. And I remember like really starting to crave fast food at ridiculous times, like 2 a.m., like having cravings for Taco Bell and not really realizing at that time like all the stuff that was being added into these foods that was making me like so addicted to them. And so I was kind of like always really beating myself up a lot, like, why can't you stop eating this? And like just yo-yo dieting and just having a really hard time. And so at 19, I moved to North Carolina. And of course, when you don't have much self-love and you don't think too positive about yourself, you can find yourself in a relationship that mirrors your inner thoughts. You know, I definitely got into a relationship that I shouldn't have been in, but I got into that relationship, and from like 19 to 21, 22, I definitely stopped taking care of myself. I didn't get on the scale anymore. I was in the South, which is full of really bad eating habits and things that are available, and you know, there's quite a bunch of big people down there, so I didn't really realize that I was gaining as much weight as I was. And man, though, I do remember at that time is how tired I felt a lot. Like I didn't have much energy. It was annoying for me to walk from like my car to the store if I had to park far away. And I remember noticing that I was so young, but my knees hurt, my back hurt, you know, things that a young lady shouldn't be experiencing, I was experiencing. But at the same time, I was still continuing to drink all the sodas and eat all those processed foods and not really realize what my body was desiring. And so one morning I woke up with an excruciating pain in my stomach. I mean, it was gnarly. And I tried to eat a little something or have something to drink, and I threw all that up, and the rest of the day it was like that. It was nonstop vomiting and pain and awful. And so come that evening, I felt like I was about to leave my body. Like, I was so dizzy and disoriented and in so much pain that I was taken to the hospital, and it was awful. Like, I had this tube shoved down my nose into my throat, and it was just crazy pain, and it turned out that I had gallstones, and these gallstones were inflaming my pancreas. And that morning, after the night in the hospital, that morning a doctor came in, and surprisingly a doctor told me this, because I know not too many hospital doctors are educated on nutrition. But this Indian doctor came in and told me, you know, all of these processed foods you're eating, they're really taking a toll on your organs. And I had always known that, like, food made you fat, but honestly I didn't really care about that. But I didn't think about, like, how food was affecting my body and my organs and just everything, you know. And so I remember him leaving the room, and I was just laying there crying, and I was telling my body how sorry I was and thanking it for this wake-up call, and that I didn't realize how bad I'd been treating myself. And, you know, I really did thank my body for letting me know that I needed to change. And so I kind of swore to myself that I would start to change my lifestyle. And so I got out of the hospital, and a little later I found myself back in Arizona in a new relationship, and we were living by the ASU campus. And by this time I'd gone from about 257 pounds, which I was when I checked into the hospital, down to about 210. And I wasn't really eating too healthy at that time. I was just eating a lot less. So anyways, living near ASU, that was still a really challenging time for me, because I was definitely still one of the bigger girls around, and there happens to be like a huge, you know, like stigma of what college girls should look like or how they should be. And so I found myself in another pretty toxic relationship. And again, though I was really critical of other girls, I was really critical of myself, and I had somebody that was mirroring back to me how I was feeling. So on Christmas Day, I had my heart broken. My boyfriend at the time broke up with me, and he moved moved out of our apartment, and in the same complex. He just moved a few doors down, and that was really hard. And I remember sitting in my apartment that day and just really having a heart-to-heart with myself, and realizing how much I needed to continue to change and to evolve. So my apartment complex had a gym, and it was open 24/7, and I decided that I had no more excuses, that it was time to continue to work on my fitness. And so I committed an hour every night, and I worked out late at night because I was super shy and embarrassed to be like working out in front of fit college students. And, you know, I remember too feeling really daunted at like how low my physical activity was at first, and feeling like I was never going to change or get in shape. So I just want to say that if you're watching this video and you're somebody who feels hopeless, or that your body will never change, just know that it really will, and keep working towards it, even if it's something small as taking more walks every day and that sort of thing. Your body will change, and it will evolve to your fitness regimen, and that's amazing. So after I committed an hour every night and I began walking more, I lost like 90 pounds in 3 months, which was really, really awesome. And that was life-changing, you know. I was manifesting great new friendships with girls and guys, healthy friendships, easily. I had so much more self-respect. I started longboarding. I was having such a better time with my life, you know. And then I remember I intuitively just randomly sat down one day and Googled food ingredients I should never eat. And I remember being completely blown away at like the list of ingredients that you should avoid, like stuff I had never heard of, like these red dye 40 and yellow 6 and monosodium glutamate, you know, all these crazy words that I'm sure I'm not even pronouncing right. But so I wrote all these ingredients down, and I was like, okay, next time I go to the grocery store, I won't get anything that has these ingredients in it. And go to the store and completely overwhelmed at the fact that pretty much everything in the store has these ridiculous ingredients in it, at least one or multiple more of the stuff that I'm supposed to be avoiding. And so that's when I found like the little organic section of the grocery store, and it really kind of shocked me how the food prices were so different, which was like, doesn't make sense, because if something's less processed or doesn't have as much ingredients, why would it be costing more? But that was really a huge wake-up call to shift from eating those processed foods to realizing what these beautiful DNA computers that we are in these physical bodies, and what we truly need to thrive and not just be alive and on this planet. And so I started going to a lot of farmers markets, and my mind was just really opening up to what my body was really telling me it wanted. And I remember like at the farmers market there was people that had raw juice, and I realized then that I could start making my own raw juice with like apples and carrots and broccoli and all this stuff. And I started to pay attention that how freaking amazing I felt when I would drink this. When you drink these, you know, super nutrient dense fruits and vegetables, and how amazing I felt, and how when I would go back to trying to eat something processed or something that I still felt like a bit addicted to, like how my body would feel so lethargic and just gross, you know. So I also recommend that if you're having a hard time letting go of like old foods that aren't good for you, like it's not just about counting calories and stuff. It's like, look at the chemicals that are in the foods that you're choosing to eat, and then like look up the symptoms of what these cause. And that really helped me to like let go of things that I shouldn't be eating, you know, because it's just a huge wake-up call, and it makes it so less desirable to eat when, you know, it's just wreaking havoc on your beautiful temple. And so yeah, and then that kind of led me to spirituality and meditation and yoga, and then I started to like research into how to activate your third eye to have more psychic awareness and a stronger intuition, and to tap into the higher universal realms. And that led me to researching really good herbal teas and cacao and all these super awesome superfoods that just activate your body and make you feel so alive and vibrant and amazing, you know. So that was a huge shift, and now it's like my whole diet is mostly like high fat foods, but that are good fats: avocados, macadamia nuts, that sort of thing, walnuts. Eat a lot of nuts. And that's the other thing, I never thought I would be a vegetarian or a vegan, but when you look at how we're treating animals these days, and these mass factory farms where they're giving these animals like antibiotic injections and growth hormones stuff, and just nasty things that they're injecting these animals with, and what they're feeding them, and these really sad, stressful conditions that the animals are being raised in and slaughtered in. Like, when we take that energy and put it into our body, it becomes our energy as well. So that's really something to think about, you know. And we're in really shifting times right now. Our DNA and everything is really activating to higher levels, higher potential. We're taking in more sunlight, and our DNA is becoming more crystalline. It used to be very dense, and it's upgrading. So it's really important that our diets and what we're taking in reflect that, you know. So the other thing is I drink a lot of water now. I didn't drink much water before. If you can find a fresh stream, or I think it's findastream.com, I'll put it below. But if you can find something like that to have an actual like straight out of Mother Earth water source. Awesome. I also recommend distilled water and alkaline water. Drink that as much as you can with apple cider vinegar. That stuff is so good. Yeah, but just know that your body and your lifestyle truly can change. I thought I would be battling my whole life trying not to eat Doritos or another cheeseburger from McDonald's, and it's like I've kept the weight off for over 6 years and haven't had fast food for years. It's just amazing how we can really change as humans and how we can evolve and how our bodies truly can transform themselves. You know, I remember just being so tired all the time. I remember I couldn't touch my hands behind my back, and I was just like, holy cow. And now I hula hoop. I'm always out in nature doing hikes with my little boy. You know, life is always trying to encourage us to change for the better, and we can do that, you know, and it is possible. So I wanted to make this video to let you know that you're not alone, and things can happen and change, and just know that you're strong. Know that your body really can do what it needs to do to heal, and that these processed foods and all of these things are not serving us. And don't let it take a disease, or like I did, having your pancreas flare up and going into the hospital to make a change. You know, start making changes now, and you'll be so happy. Okay, so I just wanted to add a little bit more on what my diet is like now. I usually start my day with a smoothie, and in that I'll put like bananas or different fruit. Also adding in avocado is really good, cilantro, or I also add in supplements to my smoothies like spirulina, MSM powder, maca, cacao. All that stuff is super yummy and will just give you a great start for the day, and it's just so awesome for your cells to absorb all that nutrition, and it's super good stuff. The other thing I make a lot of is salads. I get my greens from the farmer's market, and I'll add in avocados to that, pumpkin seeds, sesame seeds, different nuts like pecans or walnuts, cranberries, goji berries, and then have like a healthy organic dressing. Super yummy. I also really love sprouts. Sprouts will, to me, they're like fairy food. They just give you such great energy and you feel awesome, and it's like a clean high, you know, natural little earth high. I also make a lot of soups where I have like potatoes, lentils, broccoli, carrots, garlic, onion, you know, all that, and just fill up on really good earthy foods that really fill you up and aren't a bunch of yucky stuff. The other thing I just wanted to say is that when you are transitioning from eating a lot of processed foods to a more natural diet, that you will go through some detox symptoms. I went through them too. You know, it's a lot. Our organs and stuff, they're processing and doing so much when they're taking on these heavy chemical foods, and so when we switch to a diet that's more alkaline, you know, we will experience some detox symptoms, and that can be like headaches, nausea, just not feeling well, kind of tired, irritable. So give yourself a lot of time to rest and relax, and just know that you'll get through it and it'll pass, and that your body's doing what it needs to do to heal itself. Drink as much water as you can. Like I said, I really love spring water and distilled water. Just drink so much of that. Can't go wrong. I also add a lot of apple cider vinegar to my water, and that's another thing that really helps flush out the body and makes you feel really good. Can't really think of anything else I want to add right now. If I can think of anything, I will add it below or something, but I hope this is super helpful. Know that your body is really intelligent and it can heal itself, and you know, you can do it too, and you're awesome. Oh, the other thing I did want to say is that never take food on with like guilt or shame, you know, even through your process. Even if you don't all of a sudden start eating perfectly straight from the farmer's market all the time, you know, don't beat yourself up if you still have ice cream or if you go have a burger or something, you know, like just love yourself, be easy on yourself, know that you're making progress, and that's what counts, that's what matters. Don't take on things in a negative way the best you can. Okay, bye.